All right, welcome back. As we dive into the topic of whole being health, don't forget here we're at ChiroThon in Kansas City. The goal is technically 30,000. I raised that to 60,000 to bring the benefits of chiropractic care to you, to the humanity, and more importantly, your home. But here's a quick update. How much have we raised?
Oh, we raised money!
$3,528 so far. I want to challenge you guys that are out there. Share this. Let's get this out. Let's try to double that in this next segment. To make a donation, you can go to visit the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress.org/ChiroThon. Now, if you donate during this, I had said for Dr. M's book, but I tell you what, the first 5 to donate in this, I will personally buy 5 books to be sent to you as well. So make sure you donate. You will be entered in a raffle to win a gift basket from Adjusted Reality. Now, if you don't know Adjusted Reality, it's a book that Sherry wrote. I'm also a co-author. Dr. M was part of it. A lot of great people. It's in Forbes. It's doing a lot of great things around the world. You will be entered in that. So donate now and don't wait.
Excellent. And as always, we want to give thanks. We could not do this without our generous sponsors, and one of them happens to be NCMIC. It is a proud sponsor for us. They offer an array of insurance and financial products and services, as well as countless practice resources for the chiropractor out there. Each one is designed to help the chiropractor in practice thrive, and it can always be counted on to support this fabulous profession. You have a commitment with NCMIC when they come on board. They're a fantastic company and just a really give back kind of mentality, and that's why this malpractice insurance is so important for us and our profession. And because you're more than just a policyholder with NCMIC, they come on these fabulous journeys. Let's watch their NCMIC ad. Okay, now today's guest couldn't be with us live, but you are going to absolutely love him. We are so excited to have him virtually. It is Ciaran McArdle. He is the CEO and co-founder of XL Soccer World. We had an amazing conversation on soccer and the power of chiropractic. So sit back, watch, and
hold
enjoy.
on, because where are we at?
We're at ChiroThon 2026.
In what city?
Kansas City.
And where's FIFA being held?
Where's FIFA being held?
Here.
Right
2026.
here.
Also, check out the foundation because there's some cool stuff that we're doing with soccer on that. Watch this.
Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to have you back here. And it is a pleasure to welcome our next guest, a fabulous person that I think you're going to have some fun with, that we're going to really kick off the FIFA vibe with. And it's Ciaran McArdle. Ciaran McArdle is the CEO and co-founder of XL Soccer World and the founder of XL Academy. That is a leading force in youth soccer development. Originally from England, he moved to the United States after graduating from the University of York and built a career around the global game. Now, since co-founding XL Soccer Tours in 2001, he has absolutely expanded the brand into a network of premier soccer facilities serving millions annually. Following the sale of XL Soccer World to So5, a City Football Group company, Ciaran continues to shape the sport's future while supporting global youth initiatives and development programs. He has authored an absolutely fantastic book. I read it on the airplane coming back last weekend. And this book is The Soccer of Success: How the Beautiful Game Can Help You Achieve Goals in Business and Life. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to have a full treat about how do we get there and how do we know we're there. And so I want to kick it off with first, welcome to ChiroThon 2026, Ciaran. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, we know you obviously have a love for soccer, or should we say football, because I know that you're from the pond, across the pond and over, and you have a passion. But you not only took the passion into playing, you also took it into the game of life. So share with me a little bit about your career path. How did you get here in terms of building out this massive soccer environment that you put in place? And then why did you decide to move that into a book?
Well, yeah, so I studied at the University of York, as you mentioned, and then during the summer, I decided, I thought a really fun thing to do would be to come over to America. There's these programs where you could come over to America and coach soccer for the summer. And for me, who is, self-labeled as definitely not good enough to be a professional soccer player, I thought, I would, the next best step would be to be a coach. So in my second year of university, I applied to come over to coach soccer, and I ended up in a company in Boston. And my first ever coaching assignment was at Harvard University, which I had never heard of. I kind of turned up, thought this looks pretty nice. And looking forward, it looks like Hogwarts, right? And that's how I started.
Did you meet any Hogwarts people there?
It was wild. It was, I always just remember it was beautiful. The sun was shining, which was different to England, and it was just an awesome summer. Me and my colleagues coached soccer every single day, something we loved doing. My degree was I was studying electronic engineering, so very
Oh,
different.
that's a perfect and full
Perfect
path
segue,
you're on.
right? Yeah, and my master's was avionics, so even more of a perfect segue. And I loved it. And so I decided that when I graduated from my master's, I would come back just for a year before I got a real job, right back in England, at a helicopter company. And I stayed. I did the year and then never came back. I loved it so much. I stayed and ran a soccer coaching company for 3 years, and then started my own 3 years later.
Oh, that's beautiful. You know what I really love about it is you came with your ego in your hand and you showed up at one of the best schools in in the United States of America. And it's like people that I know that are really successful, they end up in these really successful places not because they have positioned themselves to be at Harvard, but they positioned themselves to love what they wanted to do, and people around them saw the passion and the success that followed. So good for you. You followed your dreams, and it came to a place where you not only became, I mean, look back to where you've come from. Like, you went into school thinking you're going to be this, and then you manufactured this whole new journey based on the love that was in your heart and how you could be part of the soccer world. Share with me a little bit about, because we're going into a massively historic moment at FIFA where people from all around the world are going to celebrate this amazing sport. And from football or soccer, don't care what you call it, it's the love of kicking this ball around, and everybody is going to see it. Tell me, from your experience growing up, not in America, how do you see it being, soccer being seen in America versus around the world?
So I remember the 1994 World Cup when it was in USA. I watched that in England. I was just graduating high school, and we'd watch the TV showing what was happening in America at the time. They were interviewing some people who'd never heard of soccer, and they were kind of making fun of it. And then there was the wave of, well, this is going to change soccer forever in America, which it did. It was an amazing, amazing World Cup. Even though I don't know if you remember, even though during the opening ceremony, Diana Ross missed the target with a giant 20-foot soccer ball. So they should get her back on this time round for a redemption.
Yes,
She's
you're
still,
right.
she's still
Redemption is
alive, right?
very good.
She's still alive. Yeah, get her back on, do a redemption, make the ball even bigger and the goal smaller, and see what happens. But it was great. It was a great World Cup, and been living here for so long now, you can see how that wave has been ridden from since '94. And I get asked often, is this World Cup gonna make soccer even more popular in America? And my answer to that is that yes, but not necessarily the participation. It's the number one participation sport in the country. But I think more so for the casual viewer, maybe the adult who's seen the Premier League a little bit on, but is going to be watching the games and just fall in love with the game because it's in America, being on the TV the whole time. I think there's going to be another wave of interest from that casual viewer now, going into a serious viewer, a bit like the Premier League did 10 years ago.
I was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and I was at a hotel, and it was completely booked with ESPN, the producers, the cameramen, and then the entire Brazilian team, soccer team. And it was 99% men at this hotel, and I saw the passion and the fury of how disciplined they were. And as I was driving back to the airport, the driver said to me, "Just wait a few moments. You're going to hear the loudest thunder you've ever heard in your life." And I'm like, "It's not raining. I don't understand." And we got closer to the airport, and I heard a noise I cannot even to this day explain to anyone, because I felt like the car windows were going to break with the noise. And it was the sound of soccer, soccer, soccer. It was the sound of the Brazilian team on the field and winning. And all I could say is, I will never experience a sound like that again, to hear that many people screaming that loud and having so much passion in their belly for a sport I didn't even really know, other than taking my kids to youth soccer, existed. I did not know that much love could come out of a crowd in soccer. So I can't thank you enough for sharing your passion, because you took it a step further. Not only did you do what you intended to do, which is coming out and start coaching, but then you got deeper into it. What made you go from that coaching experience then to developing a business around that? And how did you see your life change as you started to develop this soccer love?
I remember the specific point actually, which was September 11th. Our coaching season finished for the summer, so we went to Las Vegas, me and a few other friends, and then September 11th happened, so we were stuck in the hotel. Flights were cancelled for five or 6 days, and so we're there by the pool. I mean, by the pool in Las Vegas. I'm not complaining, right? Stuck there for 5 days, and I bought a book, and it was the autobiography of Richard Branson, his first book. And as I read that, and I devoured that book, and I kind of I read it, and I was like, wow, that's what I want to do. I want to start a business. I want to be just like him. I don't want to work for somebody else anymore. I want to give this a go, start a business from scratch, go through the struggle, come out at the other end. It fascinated me, and it kind of changed everything. And from that point, I kind of went back almost instantly, quit my job, and started a new business, which
Wow,
I
this
think books can
passionate.
inspire people, right? I mean, books can you fall deep inside a book when you're reading it, right? And it can change your life. And books, I think books are fascinating.
Well, you and I have both a passion for it, both as Forbes Books author, and congratulations on the fantastic success that you've had with your book. And for those that just tuned in, it is Ciaran McArdle, and he has The Soccer of Success: How the Beautiful Game Can Help You Achieve Goals in Business and Life. And you not only wrote the book, you lived the book. And that's a really exciting moment. Like, you turned up your passion and your commitment, and you said, "I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make it so that everyone can see the beauty of what soccer is." Soccer is more than just hitting a ball on a field. And for you, that's why you took it to the next level. Share with me some of the things that you put in the book that made you recognize that you're on track and you're inspiring the massive amount of youth out there that are beginning to take up soccer, from little people. I remember taking my sons at the age of 2 to the soccer games and getting them on the field, to all the way up into professional league. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, and the answer to my last question was not a shameless plug for the book, by the way. It
But
was
I made it that for you.
it was an honest answer, yeah.
I got
Um,
your back here, and I got you.
yeah. I mean that really should be your tagline for the chiropractor. I got your back, right?
That's right. Exactly right.
So yeah, the book for me was a natural thing, really. I mean, it took me 5 years to write it. You know, if you're not writing full time, you're still working. You know yourself. You kind of write a little bit, and until you have a deadline, you just you don't really plug away at it. And so I because I was working in the soccer industry, and I would do staff training every day, but not every day, but every week. All my staff were soccer people, so I discovered that whenever I did a training tutorial or a training symposium, when I did it through the lens of soccer, everybody understood it more. So, you know, if I was talking about sales, I would do it through the lens of soccer with sales. If I was talking about having great customer service, I used to call it injury time, because games of soccer are not won in the 90 minutes. They can be won and lost in injury time in the last 5 minutes after the 90 minutes. And so I said, your customer experience is not necessarily what happens when they're in the building, but maybe when they're walking out. That can make or break it. Do you hold the door open for them? Do you ignore them as they walk past you? That tiny little section in the injury time, we call them injury time goals, can make or break the customer's experience. So things like that everybody would understand it better when it was through the lens of soccer. And then so that spiraled, and I thought, wow, that's not just business. That's life. That's, I'm a parent of four. It's been about being a better husband, a better friend, a better business person, a better father. We can all, because billions of people know the game and love the game, then maybe I could help people understand those things using the lens of soccer.
I love that you said that, because injury is particularly one of the things that does challenge every single team. It's the reactive mechanism that we have to have. And because sometimes many teams spend so much time focused on the win, they forget that there is the preventative side of where we are in life. And on a chiropractic side, that's where we need to spend most of our time. Unfortunately, for many people, and those of you that are listening for ChiroThon 2026, and those of you that are part of the Adjusted Reality podcast, it is about being really ready for what is going to come at you. That is the proactive, preventative moment where we need to look at how we're putting ourselves in the game, because I love that you made it about the game, and then recognizing what comes on around it. And so I'm going to pull from your book because it's so well written. And there was one piece when I was kind of there, like, you have so many life changing quotes and opportunities in here that I think the average reader could just pick up and say they head to Las Vegas and they hang out at the pool and they become a better person because of it. Because you get to a point in your life where books are who you become. And, Charlie Tremendous Jones was an author who said, you become the person in 5 years by the books you read and the people you meet. I love meeting so many new people, but I also want to put the places you go. And oh, look at the places Ciaran has gone. So it's so beautiful. But here's one of them that I want you to expand on a little bit, because it comes down to commitment. 0.1% improvement times time is equal to exponential gains. Share with our audience what that means.
Yeah, and like all good ideas, I stole that one. I didn't think of it myself, right? And so there's this concept of marginal gains that was really highlighted by the Great Britain Tour de France cycling team, who hadn't won in decades, and it was called marginal gains. About, instead of trying to improve things 10, everyone talks about let's improve 10x, let's improve 100x. It was no. What's the smallest thing that we can improve on our team right now? What's the tiniest thing you can do? And an everyday life example for us might be, can I read one sentence of a book before bed? Right? How easy is that to read one sentence before bed? Everybody can do that. So can I read one sentence of a book? You do that every day for 5 years, and you're devouring books at that point.
Yes.
If you do so, your marginal gain goes like this. If you do 0, it stays here, right? And so your marginal gains, it's like compound interest. It absolutely compounds over time. And when I did this competition at work one time, it wasn't who could do the most sales, it was who could make this tiniest positive change. So it was a competition to go smaller and smaller and smaller, and it made it fun. And so those marginal gains really do add up over time exponentially, and you can do it in multiple areas of your life. Another example is, first thing in the morning, can you do one push-up?
Yes.
And the difference between doing one push-up every single day, that's 365 push-ups in a year over 10 years, versus 0 is enormous.
Isn't that beautiful? You're nailing it. You're nailing what we try to do as healthcare providers with true leadership and discipline.
Yeah, and I'll give you the one push-up example. That the beauty about marginal gains as well is, you go down, do one push-up, guess what happens? You do 5, you do 10, you don't just do one. But by telling yourself psychologically you're only going to do one push-up in the morning, you will absolutely do it every single morning. If you tell yourself you're going to do 30 push-ups, day two, a bit sore from yesterday. Yeah, I'll skip a day. I'll go and do it tomorrow. But if you only have to do one, you'll do it every single time. And there's hundreds of areas of our lives where you can have marginal gains like that.
Oh, I love this. This is marginal gains moment. This is the moment where we can have our imagination be exactly what our future can be. That's marginal gains really is as a famous Albert Einstein quote is you bring it together, and I like to think of imagination because you can do that. You can imagine it at any time, at any part of the day, what you could be. But if you don't have marginal gains, if you don't start somewhere, you never get anywhere and you get lost. So imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, imagination encircles the world, and here we are
Infinite, yeah.
with you right now.
I mean, marginal gains as well. The fun thing is it can be used positively, but in a negative manner. And I'll give you a couple of soccer examples for that. There was a Middlesbrough Football Club, Premier League club in England. They painted the walls of the visitors' dressing room the same color as vomit
Wow.
to just to try and make them uneasy because that's the last place you go before you go on the pitch. In Chelsea Football Club, where the first team, the manager is doing his speech, they put a whiteboard there, but permanently put it on the wall, but he put it next to the door. So anytime somebody comes in and opens the door, it goes into there's and Middlesbrough did another thing where they made the dressing room of the visitors an L shape, and that's so that the person at the bottom of the L cannot see his teammate around the corner during the team talk. So there's lots of positive marginal gains and negative ones, which is positive for the opposition.
That's so good. You know, there's things that wrap us back into our everyday lives that I think are important for the audience to really recognize because it is one of the moments where we reflect on change and the secret to change and what it really means. And you have to put all your energy into fighting, not fighting the old, like the old me being negative and perhaps being somewhat reticent on what do I need to do to be, and that 30 push-ups is too much and my body hurts and I don't really know if I even want to do push-ups anymore. But you have to focus all your energy on building the new. And that's exactly what Socrates did, is like build the new and start with something that's simple so that you can build it up into a high impact opportunity for growth. You said something that I love the most actually in here, and this is how I drill my life out. So I want to read it and then I want you to respond to it. What does it mean? Because as a chiropractor, we do this every single day. We talk to patients, but I want to hear it out of your mouth, not because you're a chiropractor, because you're a leader. So the quote is 1 hour of pain is equal to 23 hours of pleasure. 1 hour of pleasure is equal to 23 hours of pain. And I love it. So explain.
Yeah, and you notice through the book, I'm a bit of a nerd, right? And so we noticed in the book there are a lot of equations like that in there, right? I kind of try and fill it with equations. So an hour of pain is 23 hours of pleasure. If you don't fancy going for a swim first thing in the morning and you make your excuses, if you do it, if you go for that swim and you swim for 45 minutes, so by the time you do it, that's an hour. So you think it's going to be an hour of pain. After that hour, you feel amazing for the rest of the day. Swimming for an hour, like it's like nothing can bother you after you exercise in the morning. That could be swimming, that cycling, weights, walking, go for a walk. It doesn't have to be, but an hour of commitment to something like that just gives the euphoria of absolute pleasantness for the rest of the day. And the opposite is true. So the hour of pleasure, well, I'm not going to do that. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a coffee instead. I'm going to sit and have a coffee. For the next 23 hours, you regret that. You regret that you didn't stick to that commitment. You didn't go for the swim or go for the run or go for the walk. You did something lazy instead that felt good at the time. For the next 23 hours, you regret that.
Oh, I love that it came out of your mouth and not mine. I tell you what, I've said that so many times, but not so beautifully. And I don't think I've actually won the guilt realm like you did. You win by because you're fun, you're smiling, and I don't win the guilt world. Now, there was something in here that I also wanted to bring up because it starts people to recognize on a fundamental level that you're in control. Advocacy for yourself and your health is really key. And it comes down to a few things. One, lead yourself, but also surround yourself with the people that are doing it. And here's another equation that I love in your book. Hard work hard work minus excuses is equal to success. I want you to comment on that because that's my favorite of the whole book.
Exactly, yeah. So, hard work, and then you're taken away. Oh, it's too cold outside. Oh, I'm sore. Oh, I've got to get this done. Take away the excuses. It can be anything but success. Hard work and no excuses. You will always be successful, no matter what. And there's the soccer analogy, if I may, is players get rated out of 10. 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10 during a game. This is professional players, and any player, you could have missed an open goal, right? You could have scored an own goal. You could have had the worst game of your life, but if you have worked hard during that game, you'll get a 7 out of 10. And so
Awesome.
it's the baseline. You can get a really strong baseline with just hard work.
Since I have you and you're going into watching the biggest historical moment in soccer history, and you've written the book, which has changed many athletes' lives. And it's really about seeing an athlete as a whole. And I like to say, just as chiropractic, it's whole being care. We're not just saying, oh, you've got an ankle problem, because like I do, in leadership, when it becomes um, it's no longer aligned, everything starts falling apart. And your book is written chapter by chapter, almost in alignment. It's a true GPS coordinate. It's like you will not get here if you don't follow the path. And as soon as you become um, disenfranchised or misaligned, you start to see everything start to unravel. You've seen as a coach the impact that an injury can have on an athlete. You've also been on the field to see how the healthcare providers come in and they're working as a team. They're not just, hey, I'm one physician that can do it all. They're actually working all as a team. Can you comment on some of the experiences of those that have become misaligned and then the experiences where you've seen full alignment and why success was so plentiful?
Yeah, and you said, we're on the verge of the greatest sporting moment in our lives. I think you're talking about my over 40s game tonight, right?
That's exactly right.
Pretty
You
big.
gave up the secret.
It is the semi-final, what? Well, World Cup number two. But I think a lot of people think alignment is this, right? That's when you hear the word alignment, you think that. And this is gonna be terrible for book sales, but I'm gonna summarize my book in 60 seconds here. So, and the basis of my book is this circle, right? Which is plan, perform, recover, a never-ending circle. And I think that's the alignment. And the question I get often is, what's the most important part of that circle, right? And they're all very, very important. Plan, perform. So I think a better question is, which one is given the least amount of time in proportion to the importance? And that's recover. That is recover. And you must see it in your field all the time. We have great planners, right? People are fantastic planners. They can have vision and look at the future and see what they want to do. Perform, absolutely, right? A plus performers in everything. They can roll their sleeves up like we talked about in hard work. When it gets to recover, don't need to recover. I've got this. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Recovery is as important as the plan and perform, because without the recovery, you can't set the physical clock and you can't reset the mental clock. And for your question about which part of the alignment as an example, how many times have we seen friends, family burn out because they're not giving as much time and space to recovery as they are to everything else. And you look at professional soccer players, they don't play 7 days a week, they don't play 30 days in a month. They have more recovery time than they do perform. And in a training session would never be more than 2 hours in a day. So what they're doing for the other 22 hours, they're sleeping, they're eating, and they're recovering. They're doing ice baths, they're doing stretches, they're doing massages. There's more emphasis put onto the recovery so that they are capable then of putting 100% into plan and perform. And it ties all around. And that circle of plan, perform, recover can be 30 seconds. An example is a free kick in soccer. You get a free kick, you've planned for the free kick, we know what we're going to do. We perform, we take the free kick. If it's me, you miss. And then we recover, we reset our clocks, get that ready for the next play, right? So that's a 30 seconds. You have an entire game. The coach has planned for the game. The players perform. And at the end of the game, they recover, ice bath, massage, realignments. The season, a 9 month, they plan for the season, perform, recover. They have 4 months off, with the ultimate one being life, right? We plan our life, we live it, we die. That is the ultimate. So you're going from 30 seconds of this cycle, this circle, to 80, 90, 100 years, but the rules don't change. The rules don't change. There is no circle without the recovery.
You know, it's beautiful that you said that, because you did summarize so beautifully your book, but it lends to, you know, when you're a master and you can say it with ease and you can say it with passion, that comes back to, if you can't explain it simply enough, you just don't understand it well enough. And you have lived it, loved it, and you're still living it. And you're right, you do it with humor, because you're right, no one gets out of here alive. It's like we have to make the best of what we have to ensure that we can give our ultimate peak performance. And the beauty of your book is you summarize it as circle. Adjusted reality is summarized as the mountain mindset, which is we all hit a peak, but then we come down again. That's the recovery portion.
Yeah.
And you have to go climb another mountain. Like you don't get off climbing one mountain and go, yeah, I've been there, done that. No, there's years to live, and you need to fulfill them with the passion and the understanding that not everybody gets to stand on Mount Everest, but the ones that do recognize something very important. You don't get to stand there very long.
Yeah.
Because it sucks the energy and the life form out of you. You need to breathe. So you have to come back down, and then you need another goal. Plan, that's the key. And then, as you say, the most important that many people will forget is recovery. You have to recover to get to that next mountain, because if you're not, good luck on reaching the peak again. Is that familiar to you? Because when you said you're playing soccer, I love it. And you're also enjoying the passion of soccer as a philosophy.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, you got to we know about recover, plan. You know, if we're not planning, it's the equivalent of climbing up a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall, or climbing up the mountain that's the wrong mountain, right? You haven't planned the correct one. And then perform. I mean, perform maybe the easiest of the three. You know, and we think that's the hardest one. But perform, if you plan well and you know what you're recovering, the performance part is actually fine. It's like, you know, the analogy of a marathon. A marathon is hard but not complicated. Just start running and then stop in 26.2 miles. Right? It's not complicated, but it's hard.
It's good. You are so much fun. You know, as soon as you said that, I started thinking you can do anything. Like you just make it easy. Just make it easy and start with the end in mind. You know you're going to end at 26.1, because that's the whole objective. We planned for it. And now you're performing it. You're really running. But at the end of the day, if you don't give yourself that recovery, that space that you need to think about what you're going to be next, because so many of us go through life in chapter 7 of Adjusted Reality, the book, it's revitalizement. How do you become vitalistic in your world? How do you hit peak after peak after peak? Like, there is literally a mountain climber, I'm not remembering his name right now, but he has done all of the 7 highest elevations. And every time he came off the mountain, he's like, I'm going to recover and I'm going to start planning again to get to the next one. And he is a massive, there's a Netflix documentary on him, and he is absolutely phenomenal athletically, But he also recognized something that I think you recognized. It's all in your head.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like and his for anybody listening now that thinks that's, an unachievable goal, his 7 peaks might be my 5K race, 10K race, half marathon, full marathon. Everything's relative to your own abilities at that time, and he's just pushed himself in different ways, but everybody else is different. His peaks, maybe somebody else is giving up smoking for one day, giving up smoking for a week, giving up smoking for a month. It's life. I think it's a battle. It's you versus you, not you versus somebody else. Can you be a better version of yourself every time you go out and do something or set yourself a goal?
It is. And you become much more happier when it's you versus you.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer comparing yourself, which is dragging you down. And you go into this, you get stuck in this fight or flight mode all the time. I'm highly competitive, I want to kill that guy. No, you don't. You're highly competitive and you want to build yourself up. That's kind of where I think the soccer mentality is. And having seen how athletic they are, in most of them being at that peak level of performance for their body, is that driving them to recovery is changing their mindset, is making sure that they are going to be ready for the next game of life that's going to be thrown at them. And you never know where you're going to end up. But you do know one thing is if you build your mindset really strong and you look at the leadership principles that are in the soccer of success, how could you go wrong? So let me ask you this. As we wrap up today, in your book, it is a roadmap. I'm sharing, we've already shared that it's circular. What does optimal living look like at the end of the journey? Maybe it's the end of your book. What does it look like for you being in the spot that you've been in the soccer world and then seeing how FIFA is coming up? What does optimal living look like as a planned outcome?
This this may sound ridiculous, but I think it simplifies it. I think optimum living for anybody, no matter what, should be having time each day to be bored and being okay with that.
I
It,
absolutely love your answer. Again,
have
back to
time to do
simple.
nothing, right? That you don't have to fill your day with everything. Recover, be bored, put your flipping phone down for an hour a day. That's optimal living. Because without it, you don't have time to think.
I absolutely agree. It has been such an immense pleasure of having you on today. And I do want to recommend that if you want to watch soccer during FIFA, or if FIFA is now over and you're listening to this in later, I want you to think about life as a game. In that when you enjoy the game, that is the optimal living. Find your boredom. That is Ciaran. That's your statement. Find your boredom, because with that comes great pleasure, and the energy and the commitment to being your best is to actually understand the rest of it, which is I need to just kick back, relax, and recover. And what a treat it has been with you today.
Likewise.
Ciaran, I hope our paths cross again soon. If not, having you back on Adjusted Reality will be fantastic.
Love
Again, the
to.
book is called The Soccer of Success. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I want to thank all of you today, whether you're tuning in live or virtually. This is remarkable chirothon, and we are making our dreams come true. We're building awareness for chiropractic. And as always, we know that you're here with us. You're here for us, and you're here all about us. Chiropractic is the way to change lives, and we're so grateful that you're watching today.
All right, I hope you guys really appreciated that last talk. One for me, like I'm a huge football fan. I'm gonna call it football because I hate calling it soccer. But I will tell you this right now, like FIFA is in Kansas City and soccer or football is growing here in the United States and around the world. So we hope you enjoyed that. And thank you for taking time with us today, because I know how hard it is, especially on a Saturday, to take time out of your schedule to be with us, to learn more about chiropractic and how it can help humanity. But if you're watching, remember, this is about raising money. We want to make sure that we can hit our goal. And I raised the goal when I got here, so sorry. But ChiroThon is all about making a difference for you.
It really is. And you can hear the excitement in the background. This is a weekend that is full and energy packed. We have incredible guests. It's about you though as well. We have generously donated the incredible guest time to inform you about healthcare options and about how you can take care of your whole being and take care of your health.
If you haven't taken already from some of the things that we've already had on here about taking control of your health, this is your chance to be empowered. We're empowering you to take your life back. Now we're going to take a short lunch break, but don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. In the meantime, go to f4cp.org/ChiroThon and make a donation. Every dollar helps, and with every dollar, one person is definitely changing their life. Thank you.